All right. Well, thank you very much. How about Roland?
Yeah.
You have some topic that...
The finances, the budget, and so forth, yeah. I'll just read this. Stop paying the rich, increase funding for social programs. Like everything in a modern society, planning is indispensable in the overall functioning. The first step towards a planned modern society is in an economic and political program to stop paying the rich and increase funding for social programs. It is a political program because its starting point is of the individual interests of the members of the society, which those of the collectives, and the collective interests with the general interests of the society. It is an economic program which will ensure the people have a financial resources in their hands to plan and build economic foundation of a new and modern society. This economic program will immediately stop paying the rich, increase funding for social programs, impose a moratorium on the debt, nationalize all the banks and other financial institutions, increase...
Do you really believe that we should just say, I don't owe you any money, moratorium on the debt? Do you think we should just say, well, forget it, I don't...
Yes, I don't owe you anything. Yeah, because what's happening in our society right now, a lot of these big firms, they get big grants from the governments, and they also don't pay very much taxes. I believe Paul Martin, who owns that steep ship line, has his ships in another...
It may be exploitative, but when I lend you $10 and you say you're going to pay me back, I don't think I would appreciate you saying I'm not going to pay you back your $10 because I decided that I don't owe you anything.
Okay.
So how do you explain that?
Okay, in around 1970, there was a real big boom in this country, and a lot of money was given to build sawmills and mines and so forth. And it was all this money was financed by the government, and then today they come out saying that even though that a lot of the big problem is that there was too much money put in social programs, and that should be cut. But it was all put in a general program, and it was given to the big monopolies, and it was sort of all put in the general fund. And then now we're paying for all this, we're paying the rich, okay? And this is why we have to change our system, the way things are, get people involved, empower them. So, because right now, even though, our taxes go up and everything is, we have the carbon tax, we have all this, some of it's good for the environment and so forth. But at the same time, we're paying for this, and we're paying more today, but our social programs are being cut and so forth. So we have to reverse that. And how do we reverse that? Is by empowering the people. And it's very, because right now the politicians in Ottawa are not workers' politicians. They represent big finance capital, and that we have to reverse that, where the people take control and not the big financial institutions.
So why not, instead of borrowing from the private capitalists, borrowing from the Bank of Canada? And instead of saying we will not pay back what we owe, why don't we start borrowing from the right place?
Yeah, well, we want to make sure that, what our program is to, to stop paying this debt right now until we caught up, so our social programs aren't cut.
Okay.
And we should proceed that way.
We get it. Thank you very much. We'll come back to you for the last minute and but now we'll hear from Nicholas, see what he has to say about either of the topics that you've heard.
I have some things to say about all the topics, but I'll try to wrap it up. And to comment on you, I am a workers' politician. I manage a warehouse, and I've run operations, customer service, and done nearly everything but accounting at my at the company I work for. So I'm not a lawyer or a doctor or something like that. I am a man of the people. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I subscribe to all the normal or left-wing perspectives. I consider myself a centralist. And with regards to the other topics, I'll try to be brief. The military we support, the troops, the individuals, and we don't believe that we should be going into south of Kandahar in increasing the death toll for very little gain. My party does not believe in that, and we do not believe that the Conservative government supported the troops appropriately with their right equipment. Healthcare, simple one. We should expand it. Not necessarily in overly unique ways, just simple things like dentistry. Dentistry is underfunded. It's ridiculously not included in the ways that it should be in our Health Act. I know because I've been a victim of that. The GST, the topic that our fellow Liberal here had, well, the GST is a very tricky one. The one that they're proposing on the website is a universal services tax, which basically taxes everything, no breaks, no nothing. Personally, I think it's something worth investigating, but I can't put my firm support behind anything due to the fact that the details on your website were unfortunately not as precise as I wish they were. And personal income tax, well, that's a simple one for me. That's the number one plank on my personal platform. I believe that we need to double the personal exemption. And the thing is that doesn't remove tax money from the government. It will add it. Because you look at it. If you double the personal exemption, that means that a huge group of part-time workers, low-income seniors, will be off the tax rolls. They won't have to pay taxes on the low amounts of money they get. It's a tax break for everyone, not just the wealthy, but every single person in Canada. And that will gain us vast amounts of luxury tax because, of course, people have a little bit more money on what they do. The people that have the middle incomes and high incomes, they'll spend it. They'll go out, have an extra meal, go to a show. But the people that need it the most can afford things like bread and housing. And that is the most basic and most important thing that we need to address in this country.
All right. We have one more with us, David Blair, who's going to tell us a little more about any of the questions here before we go into the wrapping up of the program.
The roughing up?
No, this is not wrapping up. Right now is you have the right to answer any of the questions that you didn't get.
Yeah. No, I do appreciate a lot of the comments made by other persons here. I think there's a lot of thought, and I think this is a really positive process that you've got community discussion and information about the issues as opposed to what you see in the main media, which is basically, mudslinging commercials, which I think is wrong. I'm going to go back to what you started on originally, which was the whole notion of participatory democracy, which I think is what Green stands for, and this process is part of that. I think that we do have the opportunity now to move from representative democracy to participatory. Which gives
how would the people participate?
I know how. I've done it for 25 years. Yeah,
and NowPolling.ca system would be one of them.
You involve the community. People are tired of hearing what's being done to them. They want to know what's happening and have a voice in it. And even if they disagree, there are times when they say, "Okay, I disagree, but at least I know what's going on." It's not just like the current Gateway project in the Lower Mainland, where basically that was stuck in, and it was introduced as something that was
good for the people.
Well, it was introduced as a whole variety of projects. No one ever thought it's all going to be put together and it's going to have this massive project imposed on them, and they have no real way to oppose it. It's already done.
So you think that if people participated in it, then the truth would come that most people don't want it? Is that
I've been out canvassing for 2 weeks, and I haven't heard a single person in favor of it.
okay? So should people go to NowPolling.ca and maybe put that question and then vote on it?
Yeah.
Tell us in just about a minute or so your final thoughts of, and we're going to go with everybody with final thoughts of why people should vote for you.
I don't think people should vote for me. I think they should vote for whomever they think is the best person. People in Surrey know me. I've been here 25 years. I've done some pretty good stuff. I think they should vote for who they feel, is going to serve them best. But I do support the whole shift towards having community more involved in decision making. Right now, the federal government, the provincial government, and the municipal governments and other levels of pseudo-governments are taking control and power away from communities, and the grassroots need to have a stronger voice.
Mm-hmm. And that could be registered in a polling system similar to NowPolling.ca?
Of course it could.
Mm-hmm. All right. So all the Greens and South Surrey, White Rock and Cloverdale should consider you as a candidate for Member of Parliament in Ottawa.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Nicholas, do you want to give us just your last thoughts in a minute or so of why people should vote for you in Surrey North?
Well, I agree. People should vote their conscience. They should vote for the person that they believe will do the best job. Not necessarily whether they're wearing party colors, whether it's red, blue, white, green, orange. It doesn't matter. The thing is that this is not a popularity contest. This should be a job interview. This should be someone who can do the job, not just to represent to the House of Commons your particular area, but to represent the House of Commons and all of Canada to that region. And remember, when you're in the House of Commons, you represent all of Canada. You can't just be, I'm here, I can't do anything else. No, we are all a great community, a great dominion, and I'm giving people of Surrey North an option to choose someone who will go to Ottawa and fight for what I believe in, what my people in my riding believe in, and for the basically honor and integrity, which is one of the key planks of why I'm here. Thank you.
All right, Nicholas Lenz, I get it this time, from Surrey North. And now we hear from Roland Verrier, Marxist-Leninist Party of Canada.
Yeah, what I like to see is that when we get, is to have more debate in the community, instead of money being put on the candidates, that the issue, the process be the main issue in the elections. And I think that not only that should we when we elect a candidate, that they do what they want, that we have some control over who we elect when they're in Parliament, because right now it's not working. A lot of the candidates promise the moon, the sun. They'll promise anything. When they get there, after, we don't hear anything from them. Like they have their own agenda, and it's not the agenda of the working people, the students, the women, the seniors, and so forth. It's an agenda of big monopoly capitalism in this country. They represent, and you can just tell what happens in North America, the United States, and Canada, that when people lose their houses, their homes, put on the street as homeless people, when they get sick, they have to fend for themselves, that we as a society should be helping all these people. And the way it is right now, it's not working out. We have to change this trend and get worker politicians elected, and so that they're accountable to the electors, and not to somebody in Ottawa and so forth, and that we don't hear about it. So I would appreciate if everybody would look in our website, Marxist-Leninist Party of Canada.ca, ML's PC, and look at our agenda, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Roland. Now, Dana Miller, can you put the microphone, please, and just give us 1 minute or so of your final thoughts on why people should vote for you?
Sure. I am a resident of Delta Richmond East, and I have done a tremendous amount of research on my home community. I have put effort into creating UNESCO protection around Burns Bog. It's now in the Liberal Party of Canada platform for BC after I researched it, wrote it, submitted it, and presented it in a briefing. I've done several briefings on gateway, childcare, TWAS and overhead power lines throughout residential areas that potentially could cause cancer in children, and offered solutions, not just stood up at rallies and done a bunch of posturing and tub thumping like several other politicians. That's the kind of person I am, is I'm action-oriented, and I offer solutions and leadership in my community based upon the research that I do and the writing that I do for the community. I have 27 years of volunteering in pretty much every community I've ever lived in throughout the Lower Mainland. So I'm, as you say, a worker and a common Canadian. I actually haven't ever met an uncommon Canadian or a Canadian isn't working, but I think that people ought to vote with their conscience, but with the balance of their head and their heart, and realize that they are voting for a government, and a progressive government, and a government that will serve a mandate that will address social justice issues, poverty, protection of our environment, and balancing our economics and creating some surplus to contend with emergencies.
Okay,
thank you
very much, Lena. And Dan Kashigama is our candidate for Surrey North, the Green candidate for Surrey North. And 1 minute or so, please tell us why people should vote for you.
No, first of all, let me say that I think that all the candidates in the election are good people and are well-meaning and have good intentions. Yet in spite of that, so I believe that you should vote for the best person. However, I want to clarify something. In spite of our good intentions, the good intentions of candidates, it is important what the ideology of the party that you're voting for is, because the individuals are going to have to vote within a structure, which is the Canadian Parliament, to decide where the future of the country is. Now, if you vote for conservatives or, and their agenda, it doesn't matter if you're a good person or a bad person or a great person. The thing is that you're going to be working with an agenda that is conservative or liberal or green or NDP or the other parties. So it's important what you believe beyond just who you are as a person of conscience. So it's important that the people vote. I'm asking people to vote for Green because I think that it's the best choice, and that Canada needs a future that is ecologically sustainable. We also need a future that's that like Blair said, that's democratically inclusive. And one of the ways to do this is to create to advocate for proportional representation. The Green Party is the only one that has that on its platform. Now, what will that do in the long run for the people? Well, it'll allow for more people to get into Parliament and more parties that are now marginalized to serve in government. So that's why I think you should vote for me.
So people should look at the party rather than at individual, or not just at the individual, but also at the party policy.
It's not to say that your opponent is a bad person. No, they're all good people with good intentions. The point is that we are at a point in Canada's existence where the future is very vital, and we need to make a choice between whether we stay with the dinosaur fossil economics or we move to a future that's clean and environmentally sound.
Dan, thank you very much for your coming, for your intervention, and all of you, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for today.